In 1974, a man in Wichita, Kansas, hid a letter in the back of his wife's cookbook, behind the baked Alaska, because he knew she'd never make one. He didn't tell her. That was the whole point. He wanted her to find it when they were old. She found it, 33 years later, cleaning out a cupboard. Exactly like he wanted. I'm Michael, and this is the Unread Letters. His name was Hal Vetter. He was 47 years old. He sold farm equipment in Wichita, Kansas, and he was, by every account, including his own, not very good at it. That day was his 25th wedding anniversary. He'd given his wife carnations from the grocery store, and she'd told him they looked like gas station flowers. And that night, after she went upstairs to bed, he sat down at the kitchen table and wrote to a woman he had never met. June 11th, 1974. Marge, you're asleep. It's about 11:15, and I'm at the kitchen table with the light over the stove on and your cookbook open in front of me. And I want you to understand right off that I have not been drinking. This is just something that got into my head today, and I'd like to get it out of my head and onto paper before I lose my nerve. Here's the deal. I'm going to write this, and then I'm going to put it in the cookbook, way back in the section you never go near, the one with the baked Alaska. 25 years, Marge. 25 years, and you have never once made a baked Alaska, and you never will. So if you find this next Tuesday, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. I want you to find it when we're old. That's the whole idea. You're 75, sitting somewhere, going through the cupboards because you can't stand to sit still, and out falls a piece of paper from a man who was 47 and didn't know one single thing about what was coming. So, hello from 1974. It's hot. The Chevy's making that noise again. Let me tell you where I am so you can see it. We had our anniversary today, and I did what I always do, which is nothing much. I brought you those carnations from Dylan's, and you said, Hal, these are gas station flowers. And I said they were not. They were grocery store flowers, which is a different class of flower entirely. And you laughed at me with your whole face the way you do and put them in the blue pitcher. They're on the counter right now. I can see them from here. 25 years ago today, it rained on us. Your Uncle Ed's car wouldn't start, and we sat in the church basement for 40 minutes waiting on him, and you kept saying you were fine, and you were not fine. You were furious. 2 nights in Hutchinson, Marge. That's what I could afford. A honeymoon in Hutchinson. You never once threw that in my face, and I have never gotten over it. I'm not any better at money now, in case you were wondering. Renner put the sales figures up on the board Friday. There was my name, and there, way up at the top, was Dutch. Dutch sold a man 2 combines this spring. 2. That man needed a second combine like he needed a hole in the head, and Dutch sold him 2. And Dutch is now taking his wife to Colorado. And I sat with Orville Yoder for an hour and a half Thursday and talked him out of a baler. He didn't need it. He's got 2 boys and 40 acres, and he doesn't need a baler. He needs a new roof. So I told him so, and he shook my hand, and I drove home with dust in my teeth and sold nothing. Dutch says, "You gotta want it, Vetter." I guess I don't want it. I guess I want a fella to have a roof. You beat me at gin again tonight. Naturally. We play for pennies, and by my arithmetic, you have taken me over 25 years for roughly the price of a tractor. You do that thing where you fan the cards out and go quiet and hum a little, and I know I'm sunk, and I keep playing anyway. That's me all over, Marge. That's the fella you married. Ruthie called Sunday. She sounds good. Gary got the promotion and she's due in October, and she asked me, whether she ought to paint the room yellow. And I said yellow's fine. And then I sat there holding the phone after she hung up like a big dummy. She's 24. I have no earthly idea how that happened. Denny's out in the driveway under that Nova most nights until his hands are black to the wrist. He's 20 and he thinks he knows everything. And the terrible part is, when it comes to cars, he actually does. I went out there Saturday and asked if he wanted a hand, and he looked up at me and said, "Dad, it's a Nova, not a tractor." Fair enough. I went back inside. Now here's the part I actually sat down to write. This morning you were at the sink. You had on that blue robe with the burn on the sleeve from the iron, the one you refused to throw out. and the window was open and it wasn't hot yet, and you were humming something and rinsing out the coffee pot. And you didn't turn around, you just said, "We're out of butter." That's it. That's all that happened. And I stood in the doorway for about 10 seconds looking at the back of your head, and I thought, this is it. This is the good part. Not the wedding, not Hutchinson. This, a Tuesday. You in the burnt robe, telling me about the butter. 30 years is a long time to remember a Tuesday, so I'm writing it down for you. I just want you to have it in my handwriting. That's all. So that when you're 75 and I'm 77, and I'll be telling everybody I'm 76, and we've been married 55 years, you can sit down and read that a fellow once stood in a doorway and thought his life was pretty near perfect because you needed butter. Now let me tell you how it's going to go, since I'm the one with the pen. You'll still be beating me at gin. You'll still be a menace. Ruthie's kid will be grown, and I'll be the old man who tells the same 3 stories. Denny will still have his head under something. And you and I will be boring, Marge. Deeply, gloriously boring. And I intend to enjoy every minute of it. And I'll still be getting up at night to check the back door. You'll say what you always say. "Hal, it's locked. It's been locked since 6. And you'll say, "That's what the dog's for." Which is the funniest thing you say, because Roscoe is deaf as a post and once slept through a hailstorm. But somebody's got to be the last one up. My father did it too. Every night of his life. And I never once thought about that until just now, sitting here. That's my job. I lock up. I turn off the light. I know where everybody is. All right, that's enough out of me. The coffee's cold and I've got Yoder's roof on my mind, and a wife upstairs who is going to ask me tomorrow what I was doing down here so late, and I am going to lie to her. Put the picture back on the sill when the flowers go, and don't you dare throw out that robe. See you in 30 years, kid. Hal P. S. I'm going up now, turning off the stove light. Just going to check the back door. He put it in the cookbook that night, behind the baked Alaska. And then he went up and turned off the stove light and checked the back door. Marjorie Vetter found that letter in the fall of 2007, cleaning out the cupboard above the stove. She was 78. She was sharp. She still played cards. 58 years married. She took it into the front room, sat down across from her husband, and read it to him out loud. All of it. The carnations, Dutch, and the 2 combines. Hal was 80. He'd been sitting in that chair by the window since March. He hadn't known her name since March. He listened, all the way through, politely. The way you'd listen to a stranger tell you about somebody else's life. And when she got to see you in 30 years, kid, he thought about it, and he said, "Well, that fella loved you an awful lot, didn't he?" And she said yes. She said, yes, he did. He was right about almost everything. They were boring. She kept beating him at cards. Denny still has his head under something. He got one thing wrong. He thought he'd be the last one up. Marjorie locks the back door now, every night, because it's her job now, and somebody's got to be the one who knows where everybody is. She never did throw out the robe. Hal wrote that letter for a woman 30 years down the road. He hid it, and he hoped, and he had no idea what he was really doing. So I'll ask you what he never got asked. If you sat down tonight, at your own kitchen table, with the light on over the stove, and you wrote to somebody 30 years from now, who would you write to? Tell me in the comments. I read them. I read all of them. I'm Michael. Thank you for sitting with me. This was the Unread Letters.